Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? My name is Gabby and today I'm coming back with another installment of what I've watched. And today we're going to be discussing movies and TV shows that I've watched over summer because it's been a long time since I've filmed one of these. I think it's actually been since like before I was even in quarantine. So this is going to be catching you up on some movies and TV shows that I've been watching maybe since like February or March. It's been a while. I haven't been in quarantine for the entire summer. I was in quarantine from like March through May, and then I went back to work in May. I did still manage to watch a lot of movies and TV shows over the summer, so we're gonna be talking about all of those today. And you know what else I had a lot of time to do this summer? Was take some classes on Skillshare. I wanted to say a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. They have classes for everyone that can inspire you to learn something new. It's curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. I have just started recently taking this class called Writing Suspense: How to Write Stories That Thrill in Any Genre by Benjamin Percy, who is also an author. And this class is really fun and exciting. I love all of Skillshare's creative writing classes just because I love creative writing, and so it's really fun. But also I've definitely been interested in learning how to write more like suspense and thriller vibe things, and so taking this class has been very informative, and it's very fun to learn how to build suspense because that's just not something I really think about often. So, but if this one doesn't interest you, they also have many other classes in film, video, animation, marketing, web development, like pretty much anything that you can think of, it's probably on there. And it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link down below will get a free 2-month free trial of the premium membership so that you can explore your creativity as well. Thank you so much to Skillshare for supporting my channel and for supporting the booktube community. It means a whole lot, and make sure to click that link so you can go and check out some classes on Skillshare. Alright, so without further ado, let's just get into the movies and the TV shows that I watched. I'm gonna start with the movies first. One of the movies that I saw pretty early on in the year is Ready or Not. So good. It was really gory and just like graphic and crazy, and I've got to admit this one was a little bit almost like on the side where it was like a little too graphic for me because it got really violent in this movie. But the concept is just so unique and so interesting. But the concept in this one is just so fascinating because it's about this woman who's getting married. She finds out that on the night of their wedding, the groom's family has this tradition in their family that they play these like weird games on the night of the wedding, and on the night of their wedding they draw the card of hide and seek as the game that they're gonna play. So the family has to kill the bride before the sun comes up on the next day after their wedding. And that's essentially what this movie's about, and it's about her like realizing the whole family's trying to kill her and she's like trying to escape their house. It was so good though. It was so intense, and like this concept is just so unique and so cool. Another movie I was super impressed by is The Invisible Man. This movie, I had heard like mixed things about it. It seemed like some people really liked it and some people really hated it, but I feel like this movie was actually really solid. It was really entertaining. This one is about this woman who escapes from an abusive relationship, and after she escapes, the guy kills himself shortly after. But then some weird shit starts happening, like she's being haunted by something, and she thinks it's like him coming back from dead to still haunt her and bother her. And I thought this movie was surprisingly pretty good. Like I really adored the friendship that she had with this guy that was like her friend in the movie and his daughter. Like they were just so cute. And I don't know, I just felt like it was a really cool concept, and I really loved the ending. I loved where it went. I was not expecting it at all, and it was very shocking and very surprising, and I enjoyed it. One movie that I didn't enjoy so much though was that movie Underwater. I feel like this one had like a really cool concept kind of, but it just never really went anywhere. And also like the shaky cam in this one just really didn't work for me. Pretty much the entire movie is like shot underwater, which is expected. But then like the shaky cam of whenever something was like attacking them, it was just so hard to tell what was going on for me. It kind of took away from the like creepiness of the movie for me. And also there was like literally no character development at all. Like I did not give a shit about any character in this entire movie because like there's no backstory. Like you just don't even know who these characters are the entire movie. I did think the ending of the movie though is still pretty good, but overall it's just a very forgettable film for me. I did also finally get around to watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which this movie was like big hype at the end of last year around Oscar season, and I never got the chance to see it, but then I finally watched it when we were in quarantine earlier this year, and oh my god, this movie was so good. This is like the female version of Call Me By Your Name, but like better. It really spoke to me, and like the ending shook me to my core. Like I was like in tears and just like, what am I watching right now? And it was so good. Like this is definitely one of those movies that does live up to all the hype. And I watched the cutest Netflix movie, the half of it. Oh my gosh, this movie was adorable. This movie has one of the softest friendships that I've ever seen. And usually like these kind of like teen rom-com movies, they can be such like hit or miss for me, you know? But this one was definitely so freaking cute and I adored it so much. I also finally watched the Disney movie Onward, but this movie was actually pretty surprising. I wasn't really expecting much from it, but I really enjoyed the brother relationship in this movie. Like it was just so freaking cute, and like the brothers just had the perfect like family chemistry vibes. Like they were just so adorable to watch. And the premise of this movie was actually a lot cooler than I was originally expecting it to be. Like, I don't know, I thought it was so cool. They were doing like these magical spells to like try and bring their dad back to life because their dad had died when they were a kid. And I don't know, it's just a really moving story. I mean, of course it's like Pixar, so I should have expected it to like hit me right in the gut, but for some reason I just didn't think this one would. But then by the ending, holy shit, I was like crying. It worked for me. I really enjoyed this one. I also really loved Palm Springs. This movie is on Hulu and it stars Andy Samberg. And I went into this not really thinking too much of it, but oh my god, this movie was so much fun. It was just so entertaining. It was like the perfect romantic comedy, but it also had like a sci-fi twist on it because it follows these two characters that get stuck living the same day over and over and over again on a time loop. And it just so happens to be the girl's sister's wedding is like the day that they get stuck on, like living it over and over and over again. And I love this trope in like a movie. I love this like weird sci-fi trope when characters have to live the same day over and over again. And I feel like this is probably one of my favorite movies that did this trope like this. I don't know, it's just so cute and so much fun, and it's genuinely so funny. Like I was dying at some scenes, like cracking up laughing. And I'm just so impressed by how much I love this. Like, it was so fun. I really want to watch it again. And then I also watched The King of Staten Island, which this is another like newer film that I didn't really think anything of it going in. I knew it was about Pete Davidson, like he was gonna star in it, and he also helped write it, I think, because it is inspired by his own personal life story, which is really interesting. But damn, this movie is good. It is so good. And Pete Davidson is like Pete Davidson in this movie. Like he's just so believable. I don't know, it's just so good. And this movie actually has a pretty big cast too, because Bill Burr is in this one as well. It's just such a good movie. And the thing I love about this movie too is that it's so hard to predict where the story's going. It's just constantly like going in all these random directions that you didn't expect it to go. And it's just a really beautiful like coming of age kind of comedy drama movie. I freaking loved it. I was so surprised by how much I loved it. And then the last three movies that I wanted to talk about are some older films that I finally got the chance to watch. One of them was Misery, which is like the Stephen King adaptation movie, and this movie was so fantastic. It was so good. Kathy Bates was like incredible, exceptional, and I do feel like the movie is almost better than the book for me. Like I really loved the movie. I'm not like a huge fan of the book, but the movie was so well done. It was so intense, and it really holds up to today. Like I think the Misery movie is fantastic. And then I also watched Ghostbusters for the first time, and this movie was so much fun. It was so like 80s vibes, and like even though the creepiness of it didn't really hold up for me, I don't know if it was ever intended to actually be like creepy and scary. I think it was always more of like a comedy thing. But oh my god, this movie was so much fun, and the comedy actually holds up to today. Like it is so freaking funny, and I just think this is like the perfect like creepy comedy movie to put on. Like I really want to watch it again this fall in the Halloween time. Like it's so fun, and the iconic soundtrack, like oh my god, it's just the best time. Like I had so much fun watching this. And then I also finally watched Nightmare on Elm Street for the very first time, and this is another like 80s horror movie, and this one was actually apparently Johnny Depp's like first movie ever, which is pretty cool. And this movie was also really fun. It was definitely like cheesy, but like cheesy in a good way, you know? And I feel like this movie also has one of the best scores. Like I feel like the older horror movies just have like better sounding scores to them. Like they actually put so much time and energy, I feel like, into the sound of the movie to make you more scared, and it's very effective. Like the score is still really scary, I feel like, in this movie. And there were definitely some images in this movie that are very like intense, and like I could tell that they were probably pretty iconic in their time, and they're still really effective to this date. But the concept of this movie is just really cool too, like a guy that can come and like haunt you only in your dreams. So they're like trying to stay asleep because every time they fall asleep they like have this nightmare that's like actually somewhat real. Like, I don't know, it's a really cool concept and I really dug it. It was really cool. I can't wait. I really want to watch like more of the like classic horror movies this upcoming October and like Halloween time, because I really haven't seen a lot of the like 80s, 70s, 90s classic horror films. So like I really want to dive into that this October. Those are all of the movies that I wanted to catch you up on that I've seen. So now let's jump into the TV shows. I'm so excited about this TV show list because I have watched some truly chef's kiss amazing TV in these last couple of months. The first one that I wanted to talk about is one that you might already know about because I talk about it quite often, and that's The People vs. O.J. Simpson, because this show was just incredible. It like easily launched itself into like my top 5 favorite shows ever probably, because it was just so well done. It was so freaking good. This is the first season of the show American Crime Story or whatever. It's like the first season, and then the second season follows like a different case. It's the Versace season, and both seasons are good, but the first season, the O.J. Simpson season, like holy crap, it was so freaking good. The acting was so well done, the writing, the pacing, and I feel like knowing that this was a true story and this happened in my lifetime is just, I don't even know what else I could say about it other than that you need to watch this because it is so thought-provoking. It's so interesting. It has that like true crime thing to it that I just like. This show really made me interested in true crime, which I already was interested in true crime, but like this one especially just really like sparked that interest in me. Like, what the heck? Because it is a true story, so it just makes it even more fascinating and interesting. And I was living in California at the time. Like, my parents were living so close, like nearly under the freeway when OJ like drove past the freeway, and my parents were always talking about it when I was growing up. So like, it's just really cool to like actually see the show and learn like the full story of like what happened. Another show that I watched is this Netflix show called I Am Not Okay With This, which this show was so freaking cute, but I'm so sad to hear that this show didn't get approved for a second season. Like, it got canceled, and like that makes me so freaking sad because the way the first season ended, like I needed a second season, what the heck? But the show was so freaking good. It was so cute. It had the young girl Beverly from It. She's like the lead in this one, and it's kind of about like a show about her getting superpowers and then like learning how to deal with them, but it's kind of like almost like a metaphor for like what happens when you're going through puberty and like getting all these hormones and just being like like screaming at the world, like you don't know what to do with it but you're just mad. Like, it was just so good, and it was so funny and just so soft and cute, and I just loved it so much, and I'm so sad that it's not coming back. Next show I wanted to talk about is This Is Us Season 4. This Is Us is definitely one of my favorite shows of all time. I care so much about this family that it hurts. And now 4 seasons into the show, I'm always like concerned that the season isn't gonna like live up to my expectations, but every season it lives up to my expectations and even surpasses them because it's just so good. Like, this show knows its characters so well. It's so well written, and I love the way that this show can just like bring in random characters that you're like, wait, who's this? And then by the end of the episode it's like, oh my god, like that's amazing. Like, you get to see this family in the past, in the present, in the future, and like you get to see these people that come in and out of their lives, and it's just mind-blowing. It's so fascinating. I love it so much. Randall's my favorite character. I don't even care. I love him. And yeah, this season was great. I loved it so much, and I can't wait to watch more episodes of This Is Us. This show makes me bawl my eyes out. I just love it so much. Another show I watched this summer is Little Fires Everywhere. This is the one with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, and it's based off of one of my favorite books of all time by Celeste Ng. And this show adaptation was actually pretty good. I will admit I did enjoy the book more. I do think that this was a really solid TV show adaptation. I really love Reese Witherspoon in this role. She's very like similar to her Big Little Lies role. I just love seeing her in roles like this. And Izzy's character in this show, like, she like made my heart just like melt. I just loved her so much. I do feel like the show had a few like pacing issues kind of, and I didn't like the way they kind of changed something about the ending of the show. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but there were like a few little nitpicks that I had about the show, but despite that, I had a really great time watching this, and I thought it was a really great adaptation. I also watched the Netflix show Never Have I Ever. This is like a young adult teen show about this Indian girl and her family. This show just made me so happy. It was just so cute. It was very like To All the Boys I've Loved Before kind of energy. energy. Like, it was just very cute and soft, and it just made my heart happy while I watched it. And I flew through this entire season in like a day or two because the episodes are pretty short and there's only like 8. I also watched Love, Victor on Hulu, and this show was also equally adorable. This is kind of like a sequel or follow-up to Love, Simon, but it follows a different boy who's gay that goes to the same school that Simon went to, but it's like a few years later, I'm pretty sure. And it was so freaking good. It was so cute. And I swear these like young adult adorable shows will like be the death of me because they're just adorable. Like, I just love watching them. They just make me so happy. Sorry, Tank decided to make an appearance. Hello. Hello, sir. But yeah, I loved Victor's family dynamics in the show because they were so different from Simon's, and I think that made it even more interesting. The next show that I watched is Defending Jacob, which this one was on Apple TV, and I was mostly interested in this one because I love Chris Evans. Like, he's one of my favorite actors, and I was really interested in seeing him take on a role like this that was just so different from what we've seen him in Captain America, you know? I did actually DNF this book a few years ago when I tried to read it, but it wasn't really my thing in the book. But as a show, I feel like it worked so much better. And in the show, we're following Chris Evans, who's the dad of this teenage boy. This young teenage boy in the town gets murdered, and then everyone in the town is trying to figure out who did it. And Chris Evans is going to be the one like working on the case, but then his son becomes the main suspect in the case, and so he has to get taken off the case. And then it's this crazy show about how he's trying to defend his son and prove that his son didn't do this. But then as a viewer, you're like, well, did he do it? I don't know. I didn't trust his son. So it is a very, very interesting show. It is so compelling and so well written and like perfectly paced up until the last episode. Okay, I hated the last episode of the show. It was such bullshit, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I thought the pacing of it was terrible in the end, and ugh, god, it just really like fell apart. But the rest of the show was so good. So like, it's hard to recommend this show because like, yeah, the first part of it is like literally so freaking good, and I would definitely recommend it, but then the ending just kind of like One of the other shows that I finally watched that I was so excited about is Dead to Me season 2. Dead to Me is like easily one of my favorite Netflix original shows. Like, I think Dead to Me is so clever and it's funny. It's so freaking funny while at the same time being so kind of like mysterious and thrilling. But yeah, I just absolutely adore this show. I love both of the women so much. Like, they just have the best chemistry, and the plot this season was just so much crazier than I was expecting it to be, because at the end of the last season I was like, okay, like it's a cliffhanger, but can they really have a whole nother season? And wow, I was wrong. Like, they had an amazing season, and I'm so excited for the next season. Like, there needs to be another season because it was just so good. But I do think if you enjoy like thriller books that are kind of about like two women kind of like having secrets and like mysterious pasts and things like that, you need to check the show out because it's so freaking good. And then the last like show that I've been binge watching on Netflix that is such a guilty pleasure of mine is Selling Sunset. And it's this like kind of reality show that follows a bunch of real estate agents that are selling really expensive homes on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. I don't know what it is about this show, dude, but it is such a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I kind of understand and know that it's trashy, but I love it so much and I can't explain it. I don't know why. I love Chrishell. She's my favorite, and I don't know, I love this show. I think part of the reason is because I've always really loved like real estate and like seeing homes, and like, god, these $1 million homes are just so extra but like also so beautiful and exceptional, and it's just a really entertaining show. Like, I don't know, I binged all 3 seasons so quickly. It's kind of embarrassing. And then I've also been watching Big Brother, which is like another reality show, but this one's like a competition reality show. It's on CBS right now, and this season is the all-star season, so it's so much fun to watch. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Big Brother. I think my favorites this season are Ian, Tyler, and Kaser, I think. Yeah, those are my main favorites. Also, I just wanted to mention that I have started the new season of Shameless, but I'm only a few episodes into it, so I don't feel like I can accurately like review it yet. And also, I recently started watching Mindhunter, but I'm also only like 4 episodes or so into that one, so I can't really like say much about it yet, but I'm really enjoying Mindhunter. Like, holy crap. It is very interesting. It's also like for the true crime people, I think, because it's all about kind of like real serial killers finding information to help them catch other serial killers and stuff. It's so cool. It's crazy. Yeah, those are most of all the movies and TV shows that I've watched during the summer and in these last couple of months. I'm filming this right now currently before the movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things comes out on Netflix, but that's actually coming out tomorrow for me, and I'm so freaking excited for this movie. I have a feeling it's gonna be like one of my favorite movies of the year, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And yeah, I mean, here's to hoping that I'll actually get to see some new releases this fall, like Tenet and maybe like Wonder Woman. Like, I don't know what's happening, but you know, in the US we're just still so far behind from COVID. Like, my movie theater isn't even open still locally, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna see those new releases, and it makes me sad. Please let me know your thoughts on any of these TV shows or movies if you've watched them, and let me know which movies or TV shows that you're excited about watching for the rest of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.